So, welcome to another Startup Muse podcast with another fabulous female entrepreneur. I'm here with Sofia Nanfra. Hi, Sophia.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks, darling. Thanks for coming to talk to me. Sophia is going to introduce herself, but another amazing entrepreneur. And what's really interesting about your story is you didn't want to finish school, you wanted to start your own business. So, I'd like to talk a little bit about that because I think there's a lot of girls out there that might have a similar experience to you, and it's just a great story. So, maybe Sophia, just tell us who you are and what you're doing, and then we can get into why you wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Course. Well, my name's Sophia. I'm 18 now. I started my own business when I was 17, left school when I was 15. So I've been working for the past 3.5 years, and honestly, it's been the best thing for me. I'm really passionate about what I do. I'm very lucky that I found the job that I have so young.
It's all
So the business that I run, I'm a beautician. So currently I'm doing lash extensions and brows, lash lifts, all things to do with face. Hopefully moving on to nails and makeup and hair and a couple other things in the future. But currently, yeah, that's what I do and I really, really enjoy it.
So you did leave at 15, and what was that experience like?
I'll take you back to when I kind of started high school because year seven, right, was great for me. I loved primary school. I loved being there. Year seven was fine. Obviously nerve wracking, like anyone starting high school. But I quickly lost motivation towards the end of the year. And then COVID hit, then the lockdown started in year eight. And
Mm,
it almost felt like I lost all motivation to be there, as a lot of other people did throughout lockdown.
mm,
And over the next 2 or 3 years, I rarely went to school. It was a very anxiety inducing place for me. I had just, as I said, no motivation to go and nothing that was keeping me there. I had no interest at school. And it got to a point where it was like, is it worth like staying here? Because if I'm not going, they're not going to want to keep me here. But I was too scared to leave because it meant I have dropped out of school. Being a high school dropout has a very negative surrounding. I was very lucky to have my parents who were so supportive, and they really helped me with making the decision because it was just like, do I stay and do nothing and just continue to live in this depression of not wanting to do anything, not wanting to go to school, not wanting to get a job, or do I
mm.
just take a risk? And it actually worked out really fluidly because I got a job in the industry that I'm working in now about a month before I made the official decision to leave school.
Mm,
So it was when I was actually in the process of leaving school, I had the security of my job, and it did make it a lot easier. And it felt like almost a natural progression. So
mm.
I immediately went into my work, and it felt so natural. It felt so correct for me to not be at school and to be beginning to learn what I wanted to know and find deeper interests in all of that kind of stuff.
It's so interesting because there are a lot of kids that had a similar experience to you, and the effect of COVID is really rearing its head now for a lot of kids. The fact that you were in your bedrooms for such a critical period of life, and you made that decision. It was actually a really brave decision. And I've got a couple of friends now who are got kids that are leaving school because it just doesn't suit them, and it doesn't suit a lot of people. Actually, I don't think school actually suits many people the way that it's structured
Definitely
today.
not.
So, how amazing that you had that support, actually.
Oh my God, 100%. I know for a fact I would not be in the place I am today if I didn't have my parents' support. And I know firsthand I've got so many close friends that probably wish they could have done what I did, but didn't have the support around them and probably now in a place in their lives where they don't really know what they want to do.
So, well done on that. So, let's talk about your interest in business as a concept. Where did that come from? Your entrepreneurial interest?
100% mum and dad, 100% my parents. I remember mum had her own business when I was in year 5 or 6, starting her kids' yoga. And she was running that by herself, and I would help out all the time. And my dad was starting his own business. Obviously, at the start, it was a pretty rough for him, but looking at now has been so encouraging for me because he's so committed to his work and what he loves, and that's really imprinted on me that you can actually do your own thing. Like, you don't have to
Mm.
have a boss forever. because I
Mm.
think I'm a very independent person, and seeing my parents be so independent and choose what they wanted to do every single time has just been such motivation. And my mum, she's just starting up another business, and it just also that keeps me motivated to know that even if the first one doesn't work out, there's no saying what my future holds. There's no saying that I have to work for someone else forever. So it was
Mm.
1,000% my both of my parents that if I didn't have that, if they were working for other people, I don't think I would have the same. I don't think I'll be the way I am now.
So it was the experience of just sort of that learning by osmosis, really, where you're just around entrepreneurial people and that sparked your own entrepreneurial interest.
100%. My parents, my first boss, she was running her own business. She started it by herself, and I was really close to her. And she showed me a lot of what running a business was like. She was very transparent with me as well. Actually, working for someone that was starting their own business, only, she was only 4 years in at the point where I joined her.
Mm.
And I was with her for 2 years after that. So, I think also a lot of that kept me motivated because I knew almost straight away one day I want to start my own business when I started working. Straight.
What's the thing that you're most passionate about when you think about running your own business? Like, what is it that you love?
There's two parts to it. There's the part of it being like I get to be independent and I get to run this show. At the end of the day, it's my business. But then I also get to choose what services I provide. And I get to give all the customer service that I want to provide. I don't have to, like when I'm working somewhere else, it's like I have to be a certain way. I have to present
Mm.
myself a certain way for everyone else. Whereas I can be myself. It makes me feel a lot more relaxed, honestly. I noticed an immediate switch from when I was lashing in a workplace versus at home, that I was so
Mm.
much more relaxed. And honestly, I think my work improved when I was at home because I knew it was my space. I wasn't doing it for someone else, I was doing it for myself. And that was
Oh,
all the
that's so
difference.
interesting. So creating your own brand with your own values is part of what you love about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So we talked about what I am doing about the startup playbook for the tween girl. What do you think about that idea?
Oh, I think that is awesome. Like, I since we spoke about it, it's really been on my mind because if I had even had something like that when I was 11, even later, I think I would be at such a different place because even now, like I'm still learning how to run my own business. I'm still learning all of this. Like regardless of having parents that are both entrepreneurs and people around me that are, and I could do all the research online, but it feels like I would just be reaching for a lot of things. I think I would be honestly a lot further from where I am now if I had had something like that. So I think that is honestly an incredible idea. I read in some of the information that you provided about how the Danish girls lost motivation to create their own businesses
Mm.
after a certain
Mm.
age. And I think something like
Yeah.
that could help them push that through that stage where it becomes, it's not just an idea, like it's something that they want to hold on to and work towards.
Yeah, there's two bits of data that I think are really interesting. One is that girls are definitely affected positively when they grow up in an entrepreneurial environment. So you're like the absolute case study for that. Girls are more likely then to go on and start their own businesses or become just great female leaders, be more financially astute and stable as a result, go continue with some sort of education where that's appropriate. But it doesn't affect boys. So boys that become entrepreneurs don't necessarily have had that experience where they're surrounded by it. But the sad thing is that this is the thing that worries me so much is that girls' confidence to start a business is quite high at 11, which is why it's, I think, a good age, but then it drops off. So as these
Yeah.
girls go through teenage years, their confidence and self-belief completely drops away. Being a teenage girl is pretty brutal, right?
Yes, it's very difficult.
Those teenage years, I mean, I remember it being very confronting because there seems to be as you say, like a blueprint or a formula. There's a way you need to look. There's a way that you need to behave, and if you don't fit the mold, yeah,
You
it
don't
can
fit
be
in.
really hard. Yeah.
It can be really difficult. I think I lost so much of my creativity when I started high school, and
Mm.
I'm kind of only really like analyzing this now that you mention this, because like I think high school takes a lot of that creativity away, because as soon as you start high school, as soon as you become a teenager, everyone get into one lane. You're not like,
Mm,
you're not able to like become your own person because you're so pressured to just be the same person as everyone else. So
yeah.
that makes me kind of sad to think that, they would have such creativity right now, but like, in a year or two when they're in high school, how much is that really going to impact them, and how much of that creativity is going to stay?
One of the group of girls I interviewed were just starting year seven, and they talked a little bit about the transition from grade six to year seven. And they said, they're starting to be more conscious about what other people think. And that to me that was the insight, as soon as you hit that year seven age and, start to become more aware of yourself and where you fit in the picture of things, it seemed to really affect their self confidence.
I remember so clearly that first like 2 months of year seven, it was like there was two groups. There was the girls that had their shit together and were, naturally so beautiful. I mean, we were all beautiful, but they fit the society norms of beautiful. And, they had boyfriends already, and they were rich, or they had all of these things. And I remember being like, oh, okay, I don't fit in here. Like, this isn't my group. And, like, it was the smallest of things. Like, I'm a naturally curly girl, but I would always straighten my hair. Straight right now, I can't really talk, but like, it would be, it would like the smallest things would make me so
Yeah,
self-conscious. I would always be on alert, like, okay, she's got a new piercing, she's got her hair done, her dress is shorter than it was yesterday. Like, it would
yeah,
always be like, I was literally 12 or 13. I should not have been comparing myself to other girls at such a young age. And it's
yeah.
insane how much confidence was lost throughout that time.
That's amazing. And it's so true. It's those little observations where you think, oh, maybe I should be doing that. So the purpose and vision for this is that we can at least get to the 10, 11, 12-year-old girls who aren't quite in senior school yet and start to get them thinking about, I actually can be creative. I can be an individual. I can be an entrepreneur. I can start a business. And that gives them the confidence then that they can, get through those years and continue running a business or start a couple of different businesses, or, it could be 5 businesses, but at least realize that, I'm actually really clever and creative because I can earn money from this. And I think that's
Yeah.
really the joy. Why do you think it is important for women to start businesses and start young?
I think it just can help create such a sense of independence. Like,
Mm,
women can be taught to rely on men so heavily for, it's like the man does the work, the woman does the house. Like, that's the blueprint. But I think if women know from day one, you can start your own business. You don't have to do what everyone else is telling you to do. It can just create such a difference in our society and our economy and our world, because women are so smart. Like, I don't want to get into men versus women, but like, women should run our world. Like, I strongly believe that. I don't believe that men should ever have been the ones to be in control of everything. But
well, we'll just look at what's going on with Trump and Elon and
oh
their,
my god,
their childish spat
the
over Twitter.
breakup.
Or X, as they say. I know. It's interesting that you say that. Is it still that expectation at your age? Like, I would have thought that that would be different. There would be an
It
acknowledgement that women can be as independent as they want.
definitely is. But what I've actually noticed is, for a couple years there, it was, yeah, get out there, do what you want to do, be independent. But then over the past 2 years, I've seen a really strong wave of all of these teen men coming back. It was the Andrew Tate. It was all, I'm sure you remember the whole
Mm,
massive Andrew Tate. That man left such an impact on my generation, because
wow.
there was so many boys that would come out and then just go back to their sexist, misogynistic jokes. But it genuinely changed the brains of some people. I know guys that I used to hang out with. I stopped hanging out with them because they wouldn't even notice it. but they would be so misogynistic. They would make so many comments about how I can't wait to have a housewife. I can't wait to have a trophy wife. Or,
Mm,
jokes that they thought was so funny about telling me and my girlfriends to get in the kitchen or,
mm.
take my plate, or just small things that they think are funny, but it just sets everything
Yeah, it's not
back.
funny.
And it just immediately it makes it like we were equals for a while, but now you're acting like we're not. And
Yeah,
it
wow.
made such a drastic change. I think because I saw it one on one and it was also on my social media a lot, it like made me think, why are we going backwards? Why are we going backwards again? I really think that Andrew Tate and all of that set so many men back.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I agree with you about the impact of Andrew Tate. As a mother of two late teen boys, that worries me. I often think they're very lucky that they're living in a house with a very strong mother who's a feminist and an entrepreneur, and they grow up. Obviously, Arto's a Scandinavian egalitarian, so we share the home tasks 50% each. So they don't see that misogynistic behaviour at home. Yet occasionally I have heard things and I'm like, no, that doesn't work for us. That's not
Yeah,
how we operate here. And
it can
it is
spread so
scary.
it's
Yeah,
terrifying. It's actually
it is
terrifying.
terrifying.
I remember hearing my little brother on the phone with some of his old friends, and thankfully Lucas would never say anything, and I think he would know better than that because he's obviously got me and a mum and a strong grandmother and so many strong women in his life and a girlfriend.
Mm.
But I just remember hearing his friends on the phone and they would just be making comments about sluts and bitches. And I remember sitting down with him and being like, are they really the people you want to associate yourself with? Even if it's
Mm.
just boy talk in private, like, are they really the friends that you choose to be around? It's so interesting how one boy can change the brain of someone else so quickly.
And therefore, it becomes harder for girls to live the life that they're meant to live because of the cultural context of with which they're having to put up with. Fantastic that you sat with him and said, "That's not cool, mate."
Yeah, well, I think I'm always someone that's going to stand up for that, especially,
Mm.
being a 18-year-old woman who left school, started my own business, faced like,
Mm.
a lot of self-doubt. I want other women to know that they can do that, other young girls. Like, I've spoken to so many girls, even if it's randomly drunk at a bar and some girl asks me what I do, I will sit there and I will tell her, you can do this too. Like, you can have that freedom and you can find what you want to do. Like, you don't have to be scared.
Thinking about what you would tell your 11-year-old self, what would you tell yourself about making money and business and work? What would you say? What would be your advice?
Just like, don't be scared. Don't be scared to do it. Don't lose that confidence, because getting that first paycheck, getting to buy things with the money, that's something I didn't really touch on, but that was a massive thing for me. Receiving my first
Mm.
paycheck from work, and then also when I started my own business, that money going straight into my pocket, me deciding this is how much I'm going to charge, and that money is coming straight to me, was insane to me. Like, I still can't even grasp that, and I've been doing this for like 6 months now.
Yeah,
But I would tell
amazing.
myself to just not be scared and just hold on to that confidence and creativity, and don't let anyone tell you that your ideas are silly or that they're just a dream. Like, hold on to them. It doesn't matter if they're silly. It doesn't matter if I was thinking I wanted to be the next princess or I wanted to go to the moon. Like, hold on to them, because it doesn't matter if I'm going to do that or not. It matters that I would hold on to that creativity. Don't let someone take it away from you. That's what I would that's
Brilliant. Such good advice. Thank you so much, Sophia. I really appreciate your insight. And I think you've got a really valuable story to tell, which is a story that, again, like most female entrepreneurs have a slightly different story. That's the other thing I'm learning is, of all these I've interviewed 4 young CEOs already, and everyone has had an experience that was a bit different, or they came from another country, or just there was something in the story that they told that I think gives all the other girls confidence that there isn't a blueprint or a path that you have to follow. You can actually follow your own path. And I think that's what you've done amazingly well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.